Now you're recording.
Now I was recording. Get the family together.
Here's what it is. God is good, and we are not. But God is so good that we are loved. And through his justice and his goodness, he took our sin by placing it all on his son, Jesus, so that we can have relationship with him. See, left to our own devices, we're some bad apples. We're some low-down, dirty scoundrels. We are sinners, y'all, but God can take what is rotten and make it good. And he's not finished until our fruit is fresh. We're here to make podcasts good again. Oh, we're talking about it all. The good, the bad, wins, losses, life,
Love, and all of the above.
God has planned our future and canceled our past. This is the Bad Apples Podcast.
What up, everybody?
What up?
We're sitting on Cody's back deck again. I guess it's not a deck. It's more of a porch, a patio.
Patio.
But, yeah.
And Apollo is going to town, loving on your hand there.
Yeah, well, your dog is ridiculous.
He is, yeah.
He is out here with us, too.
Yeah, we got
It's a
Kia.
beautiful, beautiful September day.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it's super good. We got coffee.
Oh, man, do we ever have coffee?
Yesterday was my birthday.
Yesterday, you turned 33, bro.
I know. It's crazy.
That's the Larry Bird year, man. That's the legendary year, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Legendary.
You're like a grand wizard now.
I feel grand.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're
old
in
and
the,
grand.
You're in the Hufflepuff house.
The Hufflepuff house?
Yeah, whatever. Harry Potter. Isn't that Hufflepuff? Isn't that Harry Potter?
He's in the... What?
Oh, it's Muffles.
No. What is wrong with you?
What am I saying?
I don't know. Cody doesn't
aren't
like...
you a Muffle?
You don't know.
Isn't that a good thing
No,
from Harry Potter?
No. Muggle.
Muggle. You're a Muggle, bro.
And that's just like a non-magic person.
Oh. Well, I guess I'm non-magical. So
Yeah.
I'm a Muggle. So are you in House Hufflepuff?
No.
Okay.
No. Every time I've taken the test, I'm in House Gryffindor.
Gryffindor.
Which I feel is so basic. And
Okay.
so I don't want that. So the only other times like I've taken it and it sent me to Slytherin because I was trying not to be Gryffindor, which means nothing to you because you don't know any of the houses.
Slytherin sounds demonic.
Kia is a Harry Potter fan, right? Yeah.
Kia is side-eyeing me right now. Side-eyeing
Yeah,
me
because
right
she's
now.
embarrassed by you.
Well, that's all the time.
And here's the thing is like the kids anymore, like the youth group age kids, like high school, middle school kids, a lot of them don't know Harry Potter.
Good, man.
Because it's old to them.
Yes,
It's
old. It's
it's
also the Christian kids
I
should
can't
not be
believe that
listening.
you made it this far without
Harry.
having any kind of like working knowledge of Harry Potter.
Dude, no way, man. I would never fill my brain with such witchcraft.
Dude, I know what you fill your brain with sometimes.
True, Dr. Dre.
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar.
Dude, yes. They not like us. They not like us.
Yeah, no. don't can't fill my brain with this boy wizard thing.
Yeah, exactly. So much dark-sided stuff.
Yeah, you're ridiculous. Anyway, let's talk about our coffee first.
Please, man.
This is great.
Dude, this is
Wonderful.
called Rise from the Dead.
Oh man.
All right. It's from
Just in time for Halloween.
What exactly?
No, I'm just kidding.
What would a podcast episode be without Mad Priest? What would a new season of the Bad Apples podcast be
I don't know.
without Mad Priest coffee? Excuse me.
He probably has drinking some other coffee.
Yeah, probably. Or like the other night, nothing.
That's true. But it was late.
It was
You'd
late,
be
man.
drinking coffee late.
It was late.
I'm 33 years old.
I had some zero sugar.
I'm on my way to 34.
I had cherry ginger ale.
You're darn near 38.
I was 35 going on 57. It's great. It's not too great, you know.
You might be 35 going on 57.
Yeah. I'm old. I'm not too old.
Man, I'll tell you what. Like he is old. Like I don't realize how old Donald Trump is. Did you watch the
he's
video?
old.
Did you watch the video of him and Bryson
Getting shot?
No.
Oh.
Well, yes, but of him with Bryson DeChambeau or whatever that guy's name is. Yeah. So do you know who Bryson DeChambeau is?
Nope.
He's a pro golfer.
Oh.
And so
maybe I did. Yeah.
and he like golfs around with
Was he talking about the trees?
President Trump.
These trees can't grow anywhere else but here. They're the greatest trees.
Yeah, he actually is like so. I hear people make fun of him like that all the time.
Right.
I don't watch any of his interviews or anything like that. But when I was watching this video, number one, I realized, I mean, Donald Trump, he's old, but he gets around for an old guy.
Yeah.
Like he does, you know, he's out there. He's out there golfing. It didn't slow him down.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't think I would think he's as old as he is by just looking at him.
No, definitely not. That's the Botox, though.
Yeah. What is he, 80?
80? I don't know. At least.
Yeah, at least 80.
Yeah.
And then you got poor Joe, who's at least 104.
Dude, that guy. I'm pretty sure that he's
a walking
an animatronic at this point.
Animatronic.
Yeah. Like,
He's an old animatronic
dude,
at Billy Bob's Adventure World.
he died back in March of last year. But they're like, the Democratic Party was like, can we weekend at Bernie's this thing? For another 5 years. I killed Cody. He's dying. Are you okay? Are you all right?
Yeah. Weekend at Bernie's. Oh, what a great movie.
I've never seen it. It's just
You've never seen it, and you made
it's
that
a constant
perfect
reference, though.
It's
Yeah,
an amazing reference. That's
everybody knows Weekends at Bernie's, like the skit, like the It's a shtick at this point. So Emily, and with writing, all writing has tropes. You know, there's like these different. You know, I feel like Weekend at Bernie's is a trope.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, this coffee,
it's great.
Rise from the Dead, Mad Priest.
It's a blend, right?
It says Latin American. It's a Latin American.
It's got to be a Latin American blend.
Yeah,
so,
it's really good.
Really
the more
good.
I get into it, the more I think maybe it is a medium roast. But when I first sipped it, I thought, you know, it's lighter. But the last couple sips, I thought,
it's good.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, shout out to Mad Priest, man. Thank you for this bag of coffee. Thank you for sending this to me. Thank you for shipping it to me. Thank you for letting us have it on the podcast. You know, so God bless you guys.
Yeah, you, just so we're on fully transparent here, you paid for this coffee.
Yeah, but
there it is.
Thank them. I want to thank them personally for taking my money.
Yeah,
and then shipping it to me, and you know,
you're ridiculous. Just ridiculous. Hashtag still not sponsored.
I know,
so
man, it's so sad.
We're waiting on it.
Yeah. If anybody is out there,
if you've got coffee,
yeah, it doesn't matter if
actually
you're good or bad.
Yeah, right, at this point we'll review you.
If you're roasting it in your garage, hey, send it to us.
Yeah.
You know,
I'd be really interested in that, actually.
Yeah, man, for real.
Yeah.
And if you want to bless the podcast, more me specifically, with a big, beautiful grinder that Garrett was talking about on the last episode, please do that.
Yeah.
We'll give you a place that you can sow that seed of $1,000.
$1,000?
How much was the grinder?
Not $1,000. You can get a pretty good one for $200.
Okay, never mind. 200.
Yeah.
200. Send me 200.
Yeah.
And I will sow that into this ministry.
That's right.
And we will have a brand new grinder that we can use on the podcast.
Yeah, and as you're sending that $200 over for the grinder, you may want to send another $200 because I'm not sure about this chair. Like it keeps wobbling and moving.
Yeah.
And so if at some point you hear like a loud bang and potentially some expletives, that's what happened.
Yeah. Oh, well, I got that queued up. I'm ready for that.
Listen, if this chair breaks and I go down, you ain't making it to that bucket.
No,
You're
I'm
gonna
not.
die right on the spot.
I will die. I will die a happy laughing man. There's been a couple of moments, like the earplug story I shared on the last episode.
Yeah.
That I thought I was literally going to die.
Oh man.
I thought if I could die, if I would die laughing, I guess there are worse ways you could go out.
While you were driving?
Well, that means everybody else would probably die.
I know,
too.
that's what I'm saying.
But what if I really died? That would be crazy.
It would be crazy.
Yeah. Like, I know some guys want to go out in a blaze of glory and just
you want to just go out cracking up.
I want to go out cracking up. If I have to go, let me just go out doing what I do best, and it's laughing my tiny little tail off. I have a small butt. That's why I said that. This is going off the rails.
Yeah, all right. Well, it was my birthday yesterday.
Yes, it was.
So I got a birthday present from Emily. Now, Emily has this thing where she constantly says I ruin birthday gifts and gifts in general because I find out what they are. And so, and truth be told, yeah, I love that. Like, that's one of my favorite things about gift getting is to try to determine what that gift is before I get it.
Yeah.
And
it's fun.
Yeah. So like at Christmas time growing up, I would figure out what I was getting before I got it constantly.
Absolutely.
And my dad, he, rather than being upset with me about that, he took that as a challenge to like make it difficult for me to know what I was getting. And so he really got me one year with a guitar. Like, I didn't know I was getting that guitar. I thought for sure I was getting something else.
Yeah.
Because he had wrapped my mom's crock pot and put my name on it. Okay. So like, I was pretty certain that whatever was in that box, it was probably electronic and like heavy. So I was like, maybe I got it like an Xbox or something. I don't know, but that's not on brand for him. He's not going to get me an Xbox. That's not his jam. So anyway, back awesome. To Emily and this gift. So she informs me one morning. She goes, "Hey, just so you know, I got you the best birthday gift ever.
Oh boy,
just ordered it. It's going to be great. It's going to blow your mind." 2 days later, I am sitting at work. I get a notification that our Ring doorbell has gone off.
Oh, man.
And I look, and there's a dude that's handing a box or placing a box, which looks like a Ninja Creamy, on our doorstep.
What?
A Ninja Creamy? I'll tell you what that is in a second. All right.
I've never heard of it.
You've never heard of this? Anyway, no. I'm pretty certain that's what I'm getting for my birthday, which is exciting. I'm excited about the Ninja Creamy. Here's what it is. It's an ice cream machine. So what it is okay. It's from Ninja.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So like a Ninja blender, but what it is that you take these like pint-sized cups, you mix the ice cream mixture in it, or your sorbet or whatever it is that you want to do, smoothie bowls. You mix it up, you freeze it, and then you pop it in this machine that's got these blades that simultaneously like chop all the ice and then fluff it.
So it's
like, oh my gosh,
this is just so you.
Like, I don't know if you know this, but my great eternal weakness
is ice cream.
Is Ben and Jerry's.
Really,
dude? Like
Ben and Jerry's.
If I ever,
that's the top ice cream brand.
Oh yeah,
it's better than Haagen-Dazs.
Oh yeah,
no. Yeah.
Oh yes.
No.
Dude, Ben and Jerry's.
It's the Starbucks of ice cream.
Okay. Ben and Jerry's cookie dough ice cream.
I agree with you.
It's so good.
I know.
And like, try to eat just half a pint. Try to eat all but the last bite.
Yeah.
And you can't do it.
Man.
That whole thing's dead. As soon as I take the plastic off, I know it's like, yeah, this is I'm gonna regret this tomorrow.
What? So is that? So that's your top Ben and Jerry's flavor. What?
Yeah.
What's another? What's your other?
Oh, I mean, so I tried fish food the other day. It's not super good. Like, it's not my jam.
That's what I love fish food.
Fish, it's fine, but like, it's not as good as they've had like peach cobbler. That one's really good. They did a cinnamon roll one with Cinnabon.
Are these limited?
So good. That one was limited. Gotcha. And then Americone Dream, the one that's, I think, is it?
Okay.
Stephen Colbert.
I know Jimmy Fallon has one.
Yeah.
The Jimmy Fallon one is incredible.
Maybe that's Americone Dream.
Cheesecake?
Nope. Americone Dream is not with cheesecake.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I've never had, like, I'm pretty much into all the Ben & Jerry's flavors except for chocolate ice cream. Their chocolate ice cream is just so intense. Like, I'm not about that. But
I like the one. I'm pretty sure there's one with peanut butter cups in it.
No, that one's good too.
But I don't remember the name of it. I love the cherry.
They have a peanut butter cup one. That's great.
The Cherry Garcia.
I've never had Cherry Garcia.
Man, that one slaps in the summertime.
Anyway, so ice cream is my great weakness. I've wanted a Ninja Creamy because you can make like a lot of people will take their protein shakes and make them into Ninja Creamy things. So like if you take one of those Fair Oak, Fairlife, Core Life,
the
high protein shake, you dump it in there with some like a tablespoon of chocolate Jello pudding mix, and you can use the sugar free.
Yeah,
and then,
absolutely.
And then some, like another tablespoon of just cocoa, and stir that up. Not like hot cocoa, but like cocoa.
That's cool.
And you would just freeze that, and then you do that, and apparently it tastes just like a Frosty. So what I did yesterday is I put like vanilla pudding mix in with one of those, and it was good, but it wasn't great. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what it tastes like if I do the recipe right.
How did you know by looking at your ring and seeing a box that it was a Ninja Creamy?
I'm good at this game. And so the other piece of it too is that Emily's incredibly bad at this game, and so she hides it in the garage. And I know that I'm not supposed to find it. I know I'm not supposed to find it. But the way she hides it is she sets it in the area, like in the path to my workbench.
Oh, come on.
Sets it over there and throws a beach towel over it.
Dude,
so
that's not even hiding it.
I know.
Really. That's
it's
like
not.
Pretty much wrapping
It's not. So I went to go get a battery off the tool bench for my drill, and I tripped over it.
Yeah.
And I looked to see what I tripped over, and I can see at the bottom, like the little Ninja Creamy icon things. So I'm like, all right, I just have to pretend I didn't see this until my birthday, and then everything's good. But she did get me, because what she did was, like, she's like, that's actually your decoy present. So she had stuck a sticker to it for Isle Royale National Park, which is a place. Okay. Have I talked about Isle Royale?
No.
It's a park. It's it's in the middle of one of the Great Lakes, and it's halfway between us and Canada.
Oh wow. Okay.
And on this island, there's no people. There's no like people go there, and
sounds
people
ominous.
Yeah, but there's not like a town or anything. It's this really big island. There's more moose than there are people at any given moment of any given year.
What about bear?
And there's wolves and there's bears.
Yeah,
and so it's like people will often hike from end to end on this island.
And
so it's
die.
like 40 miles.
Will they die?
No, most people don't die. So.
Well, I'm glad if you're going there, I'm glad you don't die.
I'm excited about it. So it's one of those places I've always wanted to go. It's very, very remote, as in there's like no cell service, period.
Are you going alone?
No.
Dude.
My boy Roby's going with me.
Man, thank goodness. You were going to scare me, dude.
It's going to be awesome. The only way you can get there is either by ferry or by prop plane. So
this sounds like a horror movie to me.
It's gonna be awesome.
It sounds like
as long as I don't get like mauled by a moose, it'll be so fun.
Yeah, I mean, you have to worry about moose too.
Yeah, there has been an uptick of person to wolf interactions.
Oh boy,
but they call them interactions, not attacks. So,
have you ever seen The Gray with Liam Neeson?
Yeah.
Yep. There you go.
That kind of scares the
it's not
out of me.
Yeah, I know it's not that. Is it that? I mean, that was in like Alaska. Somewhere.
I mean, it's not like Alaska remote, because you're not like out on the tundra, but
right.
And there will be other hikers. There's rangers and stuff, but it's not uncommon to not see another hiker while you're out there, because it's just not very many people get there. It's one of the most remote and difficult places to visit, but apparently it's very beautiful. It's not been spoiled by any kind of electricity.
That's good. That's cool.
That's
going to be an experience. When are you going?
Next May.
Next May. I just want to let you know that if I were to go on this trip and something attacked us, I would, not by choice, be the human sacrifice.
Oh my gosh! The only thing
I would be the slowest one for sure.
The only thing I'm really worried about are the moose, because moose are aggressive.
You're not worried about the wolves, dude?
The wolves. I mean, I'm not like super jazzed about the wolves. Like they can really hurt.
We talking gray wolves? We talking?
I don't know.
Timber wolves?
Wolves that are there to curb the moose population. Okay. So I imagine that they're a cross between like a Apollo here and
as he's can't talk about. Gonna talk about that.
We ain't that podcast.
We're not that.
Anyway, but
Yeah.
So
That's insane.
it's
dude.
gonna be fun though. I'm really looking forward to it.
I love learning about wolves. So if you get to see a wolf and you live to talk about it, I can't wait to talk about it on the podcast.
Well, I'm gonna bring some bear spray.
oh,
I've never taken bear spray on a trip before.
just make sure you go, "Hey bear, hey bear," all the time.
I'm not worried about it. Well, because you're supposed to make a bunch of noise so that the bears aren't around you. And I don't know if you know this, but I talk a lot.
You do.
So that as Roby and I are going through the woods, I'll be making enough noise by talking to him that it won't be a problem. Yeah. And the other thing is, there's not any there's no big cats. So
that's good.
I'm not afraid of black bears.
No, you shouldn't be. No one should be afraid of black bears.
I'm not really afraid. I'm a little nervous about the wolves, but man, top thing every time we're out west hiking, mountain lions.
Mountain lions, bro. Yeah, it's real.
Because they'll stalk you.
You won't even know it, dude.
Yeah,
you won't even know it.
And cats are evil,
dude. They are evil.
Cats are all evil.
My mom's cat's not evil.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
No, he is actually playing the role.
He's got the evil gene in him.
So he either is doing two different things. He's either pretending to be good long enough that he can do something evil and get away with it.
Yeah.
Long con.
Yeah.
Or at the cat meeting, they've said, "Hey, listen, cat, you got to be good so that people start beginning to believe that cats could be good."
Yeah.
So there's some cats that they go to the meeting and they're like, "Hey, guess what, Whiskers? You got to be a good cat."
Yeah.
Because if all cats really were as evil as all cats are, nobody would want cats.
They really are, man. I don't understand it. And now we have these crazy, these unbelievable things popping up, even in Springfield, cat cafes, where people go and gather with their feline friends and they drink coffee. It's just sickening. What's sicko?
Cafes.
What's sicko? You know what? One of the fires downtown took out the cat cafe, and I'm thinking, God forgive me. I'm thinking maybe that was just God's plan to rid the evil out of Springfield, because there's some evil in Springfield, counting Beelzebuns.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry if Beelzebuns listens to us.
Really just calling
I'm sure
them out.
she doesn't. if it's a she. I meant that. I don't know who owns it. I'm pretty sure.
Look, Cody is officially attacking small businesses in Springfield. I feel like this is a good time for us to maybe, take a break. Take a break and come right back. Maybe we'll talk about something a little bit more serious than Cody trying to cancel our local bakeries.
Cancel the cats. That's what I really want.
Oh, okay.
Cancel the cat cafes and the satanic buns.
The satanic bakery. Yeah, I've never really delved too far into that whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want possession with my smear on my bagel.
All right. Well, hey, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll come back and we're gonna talk about some our least favorite things.
Okay.
In the Bible.
Oh.
So,
all right.
Yeah, let's take a break.
You ever feel like you need more from your news sources? Do you ever feel like you struggle to see the Christian perspective when reading the news? Don't doom scroll through biased and toxic news sources anymore. We have a solution. A group of Christian millennials think they've fixed the news. It's called The Pour Over, and it has two goals: keep its readers informed about world events, and keep its readers focused on Christ. That means providing politically neutral coverage of events and pairing it with brief biblical reminders. Go to thepourover.org and subscribe with just one click. Also, listen to The Pour Over today on all podcast platforms. Not conservative, not liberal, just Christian. Check out The Pour Over.
All right, welcome back. Hey, we were trying to decide what we were going to be talking about today.
Yeah, we were talking about it.
And so I posed an interesting question to some of our high school students in a class last week, where I asked them, "What's your least favorite?" All right. Well, first I asked them, "What's your favorite Bible story?" Like a Bible story you really like.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Bible story?
I like the one where what's my favorite Bible story?
Like, do you have one?
There's so many.
Or do you have one you really like?
Yeah, I like the 3 Hebrew boys. I like
Shadrach,
Meshach, and Abednego.
Do you know their
Abednego?
Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah?
What? Oh, yeah, the real names?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you like that one?
I like that one a lot. I like their courage under fire, quite literally.
The bony.
Hey.
Ooh, I love the bone.
If God saves us, great. If he doesn't, oh well. We're still not going to worship
yeah,
you.
Pretty crazy.
Nebuchadnezzar.
Did you understand the bunny thing?
No.
You never seen that episode of VeggieTales?
The heck is VeggieTales?
You're joking me.
What?
VeggieTales.
Vegetables?
VeggieTales? You've never heard of VeggieTales? You've never heard of VeggieTales.
You've heard of VeggieTales,
You've
Kia?
never heard of VeggieTales.
She's taking the fiance ring off. She's taking it off.
Oh my gosh. Cody, how in God's name have we gone this far? And I did not know that you do not know.
Hold on. I know Larry.
Larry
the cucumber.
Larry the cucumber.
That's all I know, bro. I'm just going to be honest.
Okay, but you've heard of VeggieTales.
Timmy the tomato.
Tom
the tomato?
No.
I was close.
Is it? No, is it not Tom?
I'm going to be honest with you, real honest with you. I've never watched it.
Bob.
I've never watched it, dude. I remember watching Bob.
But you know what it is.
Yeah, I know it's Christian.
But you know what it is.
Yes, maybe.
You know what VeggieTales are.
I know Larry.
Okay, but you know like the goal of the show.
To preach the gospel?
Yeah, it's to tell you're telling stories.
But it's Bible stories.
Yeah, it's Bible stories with vegetables.
But I was always a meat guy, so I didn't understand it.
Gosh. What an idiot. Anyway, I cannot believe.
Continue.
Like you had me. I really didn't think that you'd ever heard of it.
I should have just let it go because that was a good podcast moment.
Had ever heard of it. I was like, how did you worked at a church? You did not. There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way. They don't even teach you that in like seminary school because they just assume you know it.
When I was in youth ministry and like, I heard a lot of the like church kids talking about VeggieTales and some of the older parents are like, yeah, VeggieTales. I never watched it growing up. I watched like Walker, Texas Ranger, Ren 1010.
Listen, most people didn't sit around watching VeggieTales. Most people, it was what they got in Sunday school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Was that your exposure?
Sunday school.
Was Sunday
Dang.
school? Yeah, okay.
Sunday school. That's a
Yeah.
yeah.
So anyway, but the wonderful thing about VeggieTales, hate it all you want,
Yeah.
but kids that watch VeggieTales know the Old Testament stories.
That is true.
And man, anymore today, people don't know it.
No, man, they don't.
Or
they think it's some crazy Wrath of God story.
Well, yeah, or like they're just not familiar.
Right.
And I don't take for granted that students will know all of those stories. Just because our church doesn't do Sunday school, so we don't have that kind of platform where kids are going to be learning those stories.
Right.
But man, like VeggieTales really bridged the gap there. It was good.
Yeah.
So anyway, do you Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego is your
I really love that story. There's so many though. Like and when we talked about this earlier, like he was such a horrible person, but I really love the story of Samson.
I hate Samson.
I really love that just because of there's a lot
What
of
a jerk.
He was a jerk though.
What a jerk.
He really was. But at the end,
So selfish.
at the end, he went out and he took out all those people. I'm like, let's get it, man.
Dude, like
Let's get it, bro.
that's
Took
one of
him
those
out.
moments though where I'm reading it and I'm like, God, why'd you do that? I mean, I know that
Exactly.
he took out like some of God's enemies in the process, but
Right.
like,
So many.
Samson, such a turd.
He was a turd.
Such
he
a
was
turd.
Absolutely bona fide.
And you know what? Someday we're gonna get to heaven if he's in heaven.
Dude, he's in heaven.
Okay, he's still gonna be a turd.
In heaven, dude?
Yes,
There's some redemption there. That's why I connect with it.
I don't think that he changed. I don't think because what was his posture at the end? It's like, God, listen, these people are embarrassing me, and by proxy, you. Just give me enough strength so I'm not embarrassed.
Yeah, I think he was sacrificial, though.
he was going to die anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I love it. I love the story.
Okay. Samson sucks.
You're wrong.
Yo, he sucks.
You're wrong.
Anyway.
He was a really bad person.
Yeah, he was terrible. Next year.
And I connect with that. I stuck my hand in a couple of dead carcasses. You know what I mean?
My favorite stories. And again, just the arrogance of that. He's such a freaking punk.
Yeah.
He's a punk. Samson's a punk. It's like, hey, you're not supposed to eat food that's been inside something dead.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to touch a dead carcass.
Yeah.
What's he do? Touching a dead carcass.
but you know what?
Look at me.
In all, like, if you're looking at it from a, like,
you're not supposed to date the Philistines.
If we're looking at it,
I'm gonna marry her.
If we're looking at it from the, from face value, absolutely horrible person. But where I do connect with it is there was a lot of symbolism in the stories, in the story that I connected to, and it kind of helped me look at my sin and say, man, I'm glad that I didn't have to, I'm glad I didn't have to deal with this on my own. I'm glad that Jesus came and redeemed this. Because you're right. At the end, Samson was Samson.
And I like that. And that's a constant theme throughout the Old Testament of God redeeming bad situations.
Right.
And he's using imperfect people. And so you get to see some of those imperfections come through.
Yeah.
But I like David. David,
beautiful.
The story of David.
Beautiful.
And I like that God, doesn't remove his hand from David, but he also he takes something away from David in that. He's like, your sin is not consequenceless.
Yep.
It's just like there is a price to be paid here, but it doesn't mean that it's going to come at the expense of my love for you.
Yeah. One of my favorite David stories is the continual story of him not killing Saul.
Oh yeah,
could have every time.
Yep, such a good one.
He honored that king when he could have killed him so many times, and when the beautiful story when he was in the cave and he cut the corner of his garment and said, "Hey, look, I could have killed you." That was beautiful.
Yeah,
that was beautiful.
Yeah, I think my favorite. I love the story of Elijah. Love the story of Elijah.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
And I love that the story of Elijah. Also, though, you talk about like faithful.
Yeah, man.
And then he gets scared.
He does. Yeah,
he gets scared.
Yes.
And so and what I love about that, it's like after all of God's faithfulness, and like he had to trust God in these crazy ways.
Yeah,
God shows up, and
yep.
Then he gets scared.
I love this. I love that story too. I was actually just going through that story and kind of tying it into what a Sabbath looks like, because a lot of times we get worried in life, or we get anxious in life, or stressed out. And even in that story, he was fed, and then he rested. And sometimes that's what we need.
Well, and what I like about that story as well is that at the end of the story of Elijah, like God uses him to get Elisha, and to pass that on. And so, just because he failed, it didn't mean that his calling was void.
Right,
man. He still had this opportunity to do it. So anyway,
there's so many good ones, dude.
And there are, but I want to, instead of looking at the good ones, what are the bad ones? What are the ones that you hate,
dude? This is going to tick some people off, maybe.
I don't think so. I mean, maybe,
because maybe there's going to be, maybe it's like, how can you hate a Bible story?
Oh,
well, look all through Numbers, bless God, and you can find something you don't like.
There's not a lot of Bible stories in Numbers.
There's a lot of numbers,
but there's a lot of things going on. Yeah, so we're not looking at like what's our least favorite book of the Bible.
No books, just stories.
It's just stories. Like a story, you're like, I really hate that one.
Yeah. Well, all right, you go.
Me?
Yeah, you go first.
All right, I'm gonna go with my least favorite.
Okay.
Of all of them.
Okay.
That is, and like, oftentimes I'll hear people say, "Oh, this is my favorite story." It's the story of Job.
Okay. Yeah.
Job. If you're not
Job.
J-O-B. Job.
This is a tough one.
Okay, I hate the story of Job.
Yeah.
Hate it. All the way from the beginning to the end, I don't enjoy that story.
Even the end?
Even the end.
Yeah.
And so if you're unfamiliar with the story of Job, it opens with this scene of this man named Job who is blessed by God and has lots of wealth, and he has beautiful children and a wife, and like everything's going well for Job, and Job loves the Lord, and attributes credit for all his blessings to the Lord.
Amen.
And he walks with the Lord. And then Satan enters the holy room of heaven,
Lucy.
which this is the beginning of my
this is a struggle.
disdain towards this story.
This is a struggle.
You never see Satan enter the presence of God in any other passage throughout Scripture.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen.
Right.
Like, Satan just doesn't come knock and be like, yo, God, you suck. And then he goes back down to the underworld or whatever, wherever. Like, it's so like Greek mythology.
It's weird.
It's
weird.
That he would, you would almost expect Hades and Zeus to have this, like, kind of head to head. Have you seen my servant Job?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's what happens is Satan enters the throne room of heaven and is like, hey,
Which
God,
is crazy.
Guess what? People still suck. Ruin it down there. You seen Cody Dickerson? Yeah, that guy. I got him the other day.
Yeah, he's not Job.
But have you seen my servant Job, is what the Lord says. And Satan's like, oh, yeah, he only loves you because you give him stuff. And God's like, all right, take it away. See what happens. Takes it all away. And when he takes it all away, it's not like, Job lost it all at the track, on a bad bet. It's like his house burns down, his children die, his lands are sacked.
Yes,
Isn't that what happens? And his servants are killed. Like, there's all kinds of crazy.
Everybody died. I mean, it's crazy. And then he gets boils. And
because what happens is that he continues to praise God.
Yeah,
and
boils.
then Satan's like, and the guy's like, haha, I told you. And Satan's like, well, it's because he still has his health. And then boom, he strikes him with boils. Now, my favorite thing about Job is his wife lives. Yeah. So how terrible did this lady have to be that Satan's like, I'm going to take out everybody
except his wife.
You actually could be helpful later on. We're going to keep you alive.
I'm going to use you.
So anyway, it's just the story. And then, he's all by himself. Job's all by himself. His wife tells him to curse God and die. And then, like, his friends come by and they're like, hey, you must have done something to tick God off. That's why this is all happening to you. Yeah, you really need to repent from whatever it is that you've done wrong.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't like any of it. I don't like any of that stuff. And then the only part of Job that I kind of enjoy, and the only thing that makes it make sense for me, and my key takeaway with the whole story is this. Well, hang on. We didn't talk about this, but I'm going to change the way we're doing this show. We're going to put a pin in it because I believe that all Scripture is useful and good.
Yeah, you've said that on the podcast before.
And Paul also said that as well, that it's all God breathed and useful for teaching, rebuking, and training, and whatever, raising up in righteousness or something like that.
Yes.
Anyhow, so what we're going to do is we're going to put a pin in this.
Praise God.
We're going to come back to my story that I hate.
Okay.
And I want to talk about, like, the redemptive quality and how we see and meet God in the midst of that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not out here petitioning that Job be taken out of Scripture. I just don't like the story. But what's one that you hate?
Yeah. Hate's a strong word, I guess. But the one that I will breeze through and not really want to read is definitely Noah's Ark.
I hate that story.
Yeah.
I'll say it.
I just, for me,
People out here painting on nursery
there's just
walls.
there's just a lot of questions. And like there was already this fall and like, hey, God, like, the character that you see in this where it's, it's God and it's, he's just going to take out the whole race of people. And
of
then,
humanity.
but then Noah's kids, they were pretty crappy too.
Yeah.
And
it makes you wonder just how bad were people at that point.
Right. And so I guess I just, like, I'm left with a lot of more, like, with so many questions.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know. And the Russell Crowe movie didn't help any.
Oh, the Russell Crowe movie was so bad. It was so bad.
I was really hoping for a theological,
no,
grand
the rock
movie.
people.
Yeah, the rock people, the Nephri or whatever they call them, the
Nephilim.
Nephilim, yeah. Which again, that also, it just brings me so many more questions. With all this, the Nephilim and all, and so I think it's more for me that it leaves me with more questions than hate. It's just it really, really bothers me that there's just so many weird things about it. But
I don't enjoy the story at all.
They say they found the ark, so there's that.
Sure. I mean, I don't enjoy the story because it's like it feels like God gives up on the people.
Right.
Now, I mean, I know he technically doesn't because he gives.
He kept a remnant.
Yep, he kept a remnant and all that other stuff, and so I get it like that.
Yeah.
But just it makes me believe that if Noah's Ark really happened the way that Noah's Ark is written, then there had to have been something else that we don't understand and can't understand that was in play,
right?
Like a kind of evil that we don't have to endure,
right?
Needed to be removed is like where I kind of have to hang my hat on that, because otherwise, why did God do that then and he's not doing that in other parts of history? Even when Israel turns away from the Lord,
I
mean,
they say it happened during COVID. They say that was God doing that. That was his new Noah's Ark. Is what they say.
Who's they? Where do you get your news?
It's not really news. it's you see all these different. There are a big sect of Christians who still believe that there's going to be, that God's going to come through and just he didn't. He's not going to do it with water anymore. So this time he's going to do it with fire or something else. And it's like I understand like there is a wrath coming. There's a judgment coming.
Yeah.
But it's like, hey, we have Jesus now. So we got to be careful with that because Jesus is still very much present, and when God looks at us, he sees his son.
Yeah.
So we have to be careful. So the story itself is like, I'm also looking at that because man, God, he is wrathful, and we see a lot of that in the Old Testament. But it's like, man, that's just not the God I know.
Right.
And thank God for that. Thank God he sent his son.
Yeah.
And that he don't have to wipe us out, and we have to pick animals. But you know what? Who brought hornets on the ark?
Yeah, that's, there's, like I said, there's a lot of things, a lot of problems I got there.
Right.
A lot of problems.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
And what, so here's my thing, and I hope this doesn't sound like I'm not presenting doubt at all. And I don't want to make this sound like it's doubt. But do you ever wonder, like, what stories in the Bible, such as Job, are they written in history? Like, is it historical fact that this happened, or is it anecdotal?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, how much of it is like folklore, like,
yeah, is it folklore that Satan walked up to God and said, "Hey, consider,"
Yeah.
like, did that really happen?
Yeah, and there's a lot of speculation there, and I'm not going to go into the deep dive of all of that, but no, there's a lot in Genesis. There's a lot in,
oh my goodness, yeah,
like Job, like there are. And there's pieces of the Bible that we can hang our hat on as historical narrative.
Yes.
Mostly because they were written by the person that was there.
Yes,
and
exactly.
so the story of Job, who wrote the story of Job? Well, probably no one. Like it was something, or like somebody did eventually write it, but it was probably passed orally from person to person,
right,
over time,
right.
And so, and it's considered by most to be like poetry.
Yes,
it's more of like a folk tale that the Hebrew people would have been familiar with.
Absolutely.
And then it was written down.
And there's a message there that everything is useful in, and speaking of Genesis, I mean, heck, you got in the blank space between Genesis 1 and 2, people say that all the dinosaur and the Ice Age happened.
Yeah. Well,
So there's just so much, and that's just, I'm kind of being funny. But, but people actually really say that's called the gap theory.
And I think that the other story I have beef with is the Tower of Babel.
Okay. Yeah.
And just that whole concept and stuff. But we've picked at the 3 oldest stories that are written in a historical, like with a historical narrative voice, in Scripture.
Yep.
Like, because we're not looking at the creation account.
Right.
We're looking at Noah and Tower of Babel and Job.
Yeah.
Like, they're all old stories.
Yeah.
That predate writing things down and whatnot. And I mean, Genesis is believed to be written by Moses. I mean, obviously Moses wasn't chilling out there, but he was collecting stories. And I believe like the story of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and all of that, that's got some historical accuracy there compared to some of the rest of it. It's like you have it's a cleaner line because you're looking at a family history.
Absolutely.
Where people were able to pass those stories on and stuff. Anyhow.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But that doesn't mean, again, like, here's the thing with all of it. I may not like the story of Job.
Right.
Or the story of Babel.
Right.
And Babel.
Mumford and Sons. It's a good
Babel.
album.
And the story of Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that they're not useless.
Yes.
So you can still learn a lot about God, a lot about people.
Absolutely.
Through that. I mean, I think that with the story of Babel, I mean, it's not about building a tower so high that you can actually reach the heavens. Like, there was no real possibility of that happening with this ancient people.
Right.
But instead it's this desire to be like God, and to be equal with God. Yeah. And that's a constant tension. It's something we saw at the very beginning, like the original, sin, Adam and Eve in the garden, when they eat this fruit so I can be like God, knowing good from evil. And so it's that desire to be like God, to be even with God, that creates tension in our relationship with God, because we don't want to be subject to God, like subject in the sense of we are less than He is.
Right.
Right. It's hard for us to stomach that we're less than anything.
Yeah, it is.
So
it is.
I think that the story of the Tower of Babel is really important because it reminds us of this tendency that has been in human beings from the very beginning. With the confusing of the languages and moving them all over. I mean, did it happen that way? Did it not? I don't know. I wasn't there. Yeah. But I do think that there's a teachable moment that comes out of there for us.
Right.
And it's not, and the warning there isn't, oh, don't try to be like God, because otherwise He'll confuse your plans and make it difficult for you to be like Him. No, don't try to become God, because it warps your perspective of self and perspective of God.
Yep.
And it's dangerous. Like, it's dangerous not to God.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to reach that height. It's dangerous to you.
Absolutely. It is.
And to the people around you. So, like, I don't know. What's the takeaway for Noah's Ark? What do you, how do you find the useful thing there?
Yeah, I think it's like, if you look at Noah's Ark, and yes, it's kind of like, man, is this, God, what are you doing? Like, you're wiping out so many people. Like, you're not only just people, but creation. You're wiping it all out. But I think that you look at that story and you say, okay, there's still redemption at the heart of it. Like, redemption is still at the heart of God.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, he's still trying to redeem all things. And I think that's not just the people.
Yeah.
But you see it in the way that He preserves the animals. And
absolutely.
I think that what it teaches,
even snakes,
what it teaches us is that God is long suffering.
Absolutely. And
His desire is for us to be made right with Him.
Yes.
Like, and whatever that looks like, we are obviously we know what that is because it's Jesus.
Right.
But God was not quick to just say, forget it. I'm content with what I have.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
And when I say what he has, I'm saying like his heavenly beings and all of these other things. He was not content with that. He wanted us.
Yeah.
And he wasn't willing to just quit on it.
Right. And it's, not as beautiful as the story, but you kind of look at it and say, okay, the way that the potter keeps going back to the clay until it's made perfect. Like, God, hey, I'm going to wipe out the earth and I'm going to keep a little piece. That
made me think of Hosea. I hate the story of Hosea too.
You don't like Hosea either?
Dude, Hosea and Gomer.
It's a crazy story. It is a crazy story.
Oh my gosh.
I give you that. It's wild.
It's such a terrible story. They didn't make a Veggie Tales for that one though.
Thank God. That would have been awkward.
Yeah. If you don't know what we're talking about, go home and read the Hosea.
Yeah.
It's one of the minor prophets.
What about any of the stories in Song of Solomon? Do you like those?
Song of Solomon. I mean, it's not like there's not stories.
No,
it's just one poem,
one letter,
one real lovely letter.
Sultry.
Yeah,
Is that the word?
Yeah, real sultry.
Real sultry.
And again, but you look at these things, whether it's Song of Songs or Song of Solomon, that you read it and you're like, this is really kind of uncomfortable. I don't feel like I need to be a part of this.
Yeah.
Who leaked this? I feel like anyway, I don't feel like I need to be a part of that. And then the other thing too, with all of these stories, Hosea, the story of Hosea, it's like, I don't need to know about this. Like, this is nasty.
Yeah.
And the reality of it though is that God is teaching people through all of it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Song of Songs, is it uncomfortable? Yes, but it does show you that picture of like God's heart for marriage and God's heart for sex. Like his, is something that he created to be good.
Created it. Yes.
And so you learn things from those stories with like Hosea and Gomer. You see God's hurt and his pain for his people Israel and just how he feels. It gives you an image of how he feels when he watches his beloved children turn to someone else, like turn to a lesser God
and they do it from beginning to end.
Yep.
They just keep on doing it.
Yep. So I get those things. And then so with Job, what do we learn from the story of Job?
Yeah.
The only part of Job that I like, and it's the most frustrating part of the story of Job, but it's when he finally gets to talk with God.
Yeah.
And he airs all of his grievances to God.
Yes. And
God, he doesn't even say, "Oh, listen, like Satan and I, we had a bet going. All right, this all comes down. I had a three-leg parlay with you, Job, not giving up.
Yeah,
everything else was, surefire. I really needed you to make sure you didn't give up. So thanks, I'm rich now.
Yeah,
no, it wasn't that sort of thing. He didn't explain any of that. He didn't do any of that stuff. Instead, he said, "Where were you when the world was created?
Yeah.
Where were you when the waters were separated? Where were you?" And what he basically does is he tells Job, he's like, "I'm God, you're not.
Yeah.
You don't have to understand.
Yeah. That sovereignty, man.
I'm God, you're not. Who, I get it, Job, you're upset, but who are you to question my sovereignty?" And we just talked about that with the story of the Tower of Babel, how frustrating it is that we can't ascend to God's level. But what that means practically, that the story of Babel and the story of Job, they go hand in hand because it's, you aren't God. And we don't need to feel like we need to be regarded as equals with God.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we learn in the story of Job. It's like,
that's deep.
Hey, you can even be really good.
Yep.
You can have it together.
Yep.
You can be doing the right things.
Yep.
But ultimately, you're still not
You're not God.
You're not God, and
Yeah.
you're not close.
Yep.
It's not even like you're in the running of being potentially close to on par with God. And that's hard to hear.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to hear in Job's context, where it's like his life got turned upside down.
My life got turned upside down.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and then God, all his words are to him is like, "Hey, man, yeah, you don't have to understand.
Yeah.
I'm God, you're not."
I'm God.
And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, but my life, God. What about all? And it's that, are you a Lord of the Rings fan?
Oh. Yes.
Okay,
How do you not know that?
I thought you were, but you're so out on Harry Potter, it's hard to tell sometimes.
That's different, dude. That's devilish and demonic.
Anyway, have you been watching Rings of Power?
No. I have watched season 1. I just need to watch season 2.
Are you a hater? Are you a Rings of Power hater?
No, I actually really loved Rings of Power.
I thought it was great. I've been watching season 2.
I don't understand the hate for it. I really enjoyed the story of it.
I think that people that like actually delve into the Tolkien lore,
Yeah.
don't like
Yeah.
what's going on there, and there's that sense of there's that sense of they didn't stick to the original Silmarillion and
Right. Yeah.
all that business.
I do get that, but just as far as the world, the characters, and if you're wanting to do this and just go with the movies, and I think it's incredible, the story of the book.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to watch season 2 because it looks
Oh,
awesome.
season 2 is great.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
I've been in it. Anyway, so my point there though is it the elves
Mm-hmm.
in Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Elves are eternal beings,
Yes.
and so often I get annoyed with them because they're just arrogant.
Oh, dude.
In that like they feel arrogant because
very.
they don't have a sense of time,
Yeah.
and they're so much greater, but they are so much greater
Yeah.
than human beings.
Yeah.
And the dwarves and all these other, they're
Man, I love the dwarves.
but they're not superior to the
No,
elves.
they're not. Yeah.
The elves are the apex being.
They can sing, but they're not greater than the elves.
Right. They're not the apex being. But anyway, so what I think about, though, when I think about the story of Job, and I think about the way that God handles that, it reminds me of the elves
Yeah, man.
in Lord of the Rings. And you can be annoyed with them,
Yeah.
and you can think that they're less. You can claim that they're less, but they are not.
They're not. Yeah.
And you can hope that humans can be like the men of the story, or the dwarves of the story, or whatever of the story,
Yeah.
can be level with the elves, but
They're not going to.
they're not.
Yeah.
And so you have this kind of heavenly being with the elves. And so all of that to say this, I hate the story of Job, but I love that it draws me back to a place of humility
Right.
in regards to God.
Right.
That I'm not meant to be equal to him.
Yeah.
It's not something I can strive for
No.
and achieve.
Yep.
And it's not ever expected.
And that's a good pressure to take off of
Yep.
yourself.
And the other thing too is like, if God is so what feels flippant, to be flippant with Job's life. Now he does eventually restore everything, whatever.
Right.
But I don't like that part of the story either, because there's what. But you know why?
Why? Tell me.
Because a lot of people go through crap and
then-
nothing comes
is
back.
yeah, I get it. I get that.
And the other danger of Job, what happens is people use Job to say, well,
Oh,
if God,
they do. Yeah.
if God brings you to it, he'll bring you through
I
it.
know. That's
Hey,
so dangerous.
if you're somebody who says that, I love you.
that's so
I'm
dangerous.
thankful for you.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's accurate.
No, and we really need to be careful with telling people, "Oh, you're in your David season. Oh, you're in your Job season. Oh, I can't stand that, because here's the thing. I don't want to be Job. And like you said, so many times people go through life, and the things that they lose, the people that they lose, nothing is ever restored to them. Now, their relationship with God may be restored, and that is everything.
Sure.
And they may see redemption through that. But we've got to be so careful.
Yeah, because what happens is we take the story of Job and we believe that like our reward's coming at the end. And we are getting something eternal at the end, yes.
Absolutely.
But your life just may be hard from
absolutely, dude.
your hard moment on.
Absolutely.
And then the other piece of it as well is that if you slip into the dangerous feeling of like, oh, if I'm going through something hard, it must be the Lord in this. No. Sometimes you go through hard things because you're, number one, your own stupidity.
Absolutely.
Number two, the stupidity of others.
Absolutely.
And number three, that the world is broken.
The world is very broken.
And I don't think that God is playing some kind of cosmic game with your life.
Thank you.
And that's one of the dangers of the book of Job is it paints this picture of God playing games with human lives, which I just don't think is true of God, and it doesn't jive with the rest of Scripture and what we know of God.
God is not some bully with a magnifying glass, and we're his ants, and he's just pointing the sun at us and wanting to burn. It's just not. That's just not who God is.
Sure. So I think that that's one of the pieces that I don't like about Job. But and him getting all of his family and everything, like having a family and getting things and that kind of stuff feeds into that.
Right.
But I do think that it is a powerful reminder for us to remember that we are not God and we can't become God. And it's dangerous to believe that we could become God. And God is also not answerable to us.
That's right. That's right.
He does not have to answer to us.
His ways are not our ways.
Yep. And so, and you don't see God be that firm with somebody who's like good.
Yeah.
Quote unquote good.
Right.
And in that moment, he's like, hey, you don't have to understand. You just have to trust.
Yeah.
And that's the way that goes. Anyway, so
that's deep stuff, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of soapboxes there.
There are many.
Yeah,
many soapboxes.
Yeah, I feel like if he brings you to it, he'll bring you through it, sort of thing. I may have stepped on some toes there.
Well, but maybe we did, but that I used to be that. I used to believe that for my life, and I used to say those things.
Yeah.
And it's so dangerous.
Well, and
it's
there's
so dangerous,
and it's dangerous for two reasons. And so let's go ahead and pull it all apart. So I've already stepped on your toes. I may as well full on.
Yep. Put your toes back and get your steel toe boots on. Got to step on them.
But here's the thing: is like God doesn't always bring you to the things that you are feeling brought to.
Absolutely.
Again, let's review. Yep. A lot of the things that I've been brought to that suck.
Come on.
Are my fault.
Absolutely.
Or they're the fault of somebody else's sin.
Yep.
Or it can be chalked up to like life. Like nobody makes it out of this thing alive.
That's right.
That's
right.
And so there comes a time where nobody is promised to live forever. Like in their this first life.
Yeah.
It's not eternal.
Right.
And so loss is a reality that we live in.
Yep.
And sickness and illness are that's a reality we live in. Yep. And we also live in a world full of sinful people, and we make sinful mistakes. And so a lot of times the things that God is bringing you to, that people are saying this in reference to, it's just like, God's not bringing you to that.
Yeah. I had to face this very rock bottom place of understanding that everything that I was going through was a season that I created. Mm-hmm. My sin created everything that I went through in my life, every mistake, every failure, all of that, all of those consequences. Those were consequences. And God, I remember just really believing that, hey, you know what? I have forgiven you. You are forgiven. You are redeemed, but you're going to still deal with some consequences.
Yeah, right.
Those consequences still existed for me.
Right.
Even though I know I'm redeemed. I know God is going to restore me in some way.
Yeah.
In some way.
Yeah.
And even if it's like, hey, I know I'm forgiven, but I know my reward is going to be eternal. That's the restoration.
Yeah.
I may deal with the consequences the rest of my life.
Right.
And but the thing is, I had to understand I did this.
Yeah.
Well,
and the God bringing you through it, that aspect of it, there's truth in that.
I'm sure. Yeah.
That like you're not abandoned in whatever you are going through. So like, if he brings you to it, he'll bring you through it sort of thing. There's a lot of it that he hasn't brought you to, that you've brought upon yourself.
Absolutely.
Or that others have brought upon you, or just the fallenness of the world has brought upon you. I mean, I think about, and even, okay, let me put it another way.
Yeah.
In high school, I had a friend, she died in a car accident. It was super hard. And she was really young. She was about my age.
Yeah.
And I remember just feeling really it was really painful. It was a really hard thing.
Sure.
But I never blamed God, because she was on her phone while she was driving.
Yeah.
She made a mistake.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it cost her life.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
Right.
And that's, I mean, do I wish that God would have spared her somehow? Like,
Sure.
Yes, of course. But she also made a mistake that cost her life. And that's like, not for me to be like, well, God brought me to that.
Yeah.
No, it's a reality of life that people are going to die. And sometimes people are going to die at their own hand.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. And that sounds really harsh, but it's real. But the other piece of that, though, is that we do believe that God is with us in it. And
Absolutely.
The one of my favorite pieces of scripture is that God works all things for good of those who love him.
Yeah.
But like the danger there is that sometimes we believe that God is going to, because we're faithful and we trust God and these things, that God is going to work equal good to the bad. Like, so something bad happens, he's going to tip the scales back so that either good outweighs bad, or at least they're equal. But that's just not the way it works.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, but that's I think that I've talked to people where it's like, oh man, where's God in this? Like,
right.
How could he possibly, like, what good could he bring me that will justify the loss of my child, or like make it worth it? And I'm like, wait a minute, no.
Right.
That's not what Paul is saying there.
Right.
Is that God's going to make every bad thing worth it. But he can work good out of really bad situations.
Absolutely.
And so I think that we can cling to the fruit of the good in the bad situations without the expectation of that God's going to make this balance.
Yeah.
Because that's not what he says. He doesn't say he's going to balance the evil in your life with good.
Right.
It's he can work good things out of bad things. And I've seen God do that time after time.
Oh, man. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But if you're sitting here with a scorecard hoping that it's all going to come out level, you're just going to be really disappointed.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it doesn't work that way.
For sure. And
So-
and you're good, because your good may be a lot less than the bad that you're dealing with, but you may find slivers of the good that God will still kind of bring out that silver lining, for cliche purposes. But yeah, man, that's deep. That's some deep. That's some great topic coming from what we were just discussing, what we didn't like, and moving from that. That's.
So
we can go several episodes on that stuff.
Yeah, and again, if you're somebody who uses that phrase a lot, we can still be friends.
We can still be friends, for sure. We can still be friends. I mean,
Yeah. So, and if you disagree with us, we'd love to hear from you.
Please,
really would.
Please, we dare you. And
dare you? Okay,
and
come on now.
If you
we're not doing that.
If you want to come on the podcast and wax poetic about why you disagree with us, we'll let you come on. We have a mic, and you can come on. If you want to challenge Garrett, that'll be fine. I'll moderate it.
You'll leave me out here.
No, I mean, I do think, though, this is a little bit off topic. I do think we should do a deep dive into the world of Middle Earth and Tolkien. Somehow figure that out and bring out some stuff and really, really have fun with it.
Yeah. No, there is a scene in this season where they really try to personalize the orcs. Like,
really,
and make them not just this other being that's pure evil.
It's pure. Okay.
Instead, they give the orc a family. And
no way.
They make you want to and it's a brief scene. It's not like this long drawn out storyline. It's like you see this orc that's like, do we really have to fight?
Oh snap!
We've got a place now. that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
quick.
interesting.
And man, dude, Facebook just has a field day with it.
Oh,
but
okay, yeah.
there was somebody else posted an interesting thought about how that might actually be closer to what Tolkien was wrestling with, was this idea of, is there ultimate evil in the world? What degree is ultimate evil?
Yeah. I think C.S. Lewis has even talked about ultimate evil.
Yeah, so we don't need to get in that on this one, but
we
could
need
be
to
an
look
interesting
into
thought.
that.
So,
Man, we should start taking in some C.S. Lewis and Tolkien and all that stuff, and just start.
yeah, I need to read the rest of the Lord of the Rings. I read the first one.
I do too. I've read Hobbit, but I need to go through.
Fellowship is tough.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, that's gonna be my winter read, I think.
yeah,
I'll try to get through it.
that'd be good.
Dude, speaking of outside, we're all in sweatshirts right now, and you know what it's almost time for.
Chili?
Chili and putting up my Christmas tree.
Oh, geez, you're ridiculous. It's not even October.
I just want to let you know, last year I put up my Christmas tree September 28th. This year, I will put it up September 27th.
No, don't do that.
Even though today I was really feeling, I was kind of in the mood
Just
for
feel
some Halloween
fall.
movies.
Feel fall.
I wanted to watch some Halloween movies today.
That'd be another good thing. Well, hey, we need to end this episode so that we can start brainstorming.
All right.
Some good ideas here.
Yeah. Well, we love you guys. Apollo, first of all, this is his first episode hanging out with us. He's never hung out with us for an episode.
That's right.
And so welcome, Apollo. Kia, my beautiful fiance, is hanging out with us as well. She was going to be on the podcast, and we just decided to not let her on this time.
Technical issues.
Technical issues. So, but we want to tell you this. God loved us first. God loves us best. And God loves us most. This is the Bad Apples Podcast.
See you next week.